Hi, thanks for tuning in today. Our subject is, for most people, not a very exciting one. And most of us have learned these things long ago, and those who are learning them now might consider them drudgery. But scales are what music is made out of. So we're looking at chromatic scales today. And I'll just play a few of them and then make some suggestions for practice, which I found to be particularly helpful. For practice of scales, but practice of anything, actually. So I'm just going to play number 1 in chromatic scales section of the Arban book. And let's see, we're going to put the metronome on 80, which is the first tempo that's indicated. And so that's a 80 to the quarter note and eighth notes. Okay, that was pretty simple. Now clearly, if you don't know the chromatic scale, if your fingers don't know the pattern, you got to learn that first. But I think probably most of the people I'm talking to know the pattern of a chromatic scale. And how many chromatic scales are there? Well, there are 2. Since you're moving in half steps, if you started on a C and you go up the chromatic scale, well, you can start on the C sharp and go up the chromatic scale. Well, wait a minute. You could start on any note and move chromatically in any direction, and it's the same scale. So it's really only one scale. Now, patterns. We can get into all kinds of patterns. And later on in this section called chromatic scales, he starts to get a little bit challenging by mixing chromatics and non-chromatics. And that's what drives most of us a little bit crazy. We're not going to look at that today, maybe later, maybe not, because it's not very much fun. But it's really great to be able to do that. It's more of a mind game than anything else. So what can we learn from this? This is kind of like what a dancer would call the bar. In other words, there's certain things that you do, certain movement patterns that you learn that are the basic components of what you're going to use to dance, any kind of dance. Certain physical things you need to be able to do at a certain level of refinement. That's exactly what these are for. So we have obviously sound quality. We have rhythm in terms of the time, the flow of the subdivision, and the evenness of the notes. We have the physical things like the actual tactile sensation of the movement of the fingers and the movement of the air. We can be working on hundreds of things, but as always, you want to make it simple. So I'm going to suggest one practice technique that it might be difficult for some of you, and I haven't yet addressed the subject of buzzing, which is a huge subject, both just free buzzing or lip alone buzzing and buzzing on the mouthpiece. But we're going to do a little buzzing today. And what I'm going to suggest is to get a burp or a brass buzzer or something like that, and put that into your horn, and then you can put the mouthpiece in the device and buzz with the fingerings. Now, the great advantage of buzzing on the mouthpiece, there are disadvantages, but the great advantage is that you don't have any notches. There are no slots for the notes. So you can move chromatically with total freedom, and you can play the semitones in between the half steps. Now, I'm going to suggest that if you're buzzing with the mouthpiece alone, the method that I've tried, a lot of different methods. And how many ways can you hold the mouthpiece? A lot of people hold it like this. I don't recommend that because there's a tendency to kind of just mash that into your face. The stamp method, as many of you know, is just your non-dominant hand. If you're right or left-handed, you just pick your non-dominant hand and you just take your first finger, your index finger, and your thumb, and just hold it at the end of the shank that way. Now, you can drop your mouthpiece that way, and this is a very precious mouthpiece to me, so I'm going to try not to drop it. So I could do that. What's the good of that? Well, right away, it makes me aware of whether I'm needing more mouthpiece pressure. If I need more mouthpiece pressure, I'm going to feel my fingers gripping, and I'm going to maybe even be slipping on the mouthpiece. And as we go higher, this is a problem for a lot of people. So it's like a built-in reminder. It's like a little warning device, which is great. There are even some devices, I'm not going to show you any right now because I don't want to get off the track, but there are devices where you put your mouthpiece in it, and you can also insert this device into the horn. And as you're playing, if you're using the right amount of pressure, in other words, not too much, you're playing fine. As soon as you use a little bit too much pressure, the device causes the mouthpiece to leak air instead of putting the air through the trumpet. I think Mr. Warburton makes one of those, and there's a very well-made one a German manufacturer makes that I think is the best one that I've tried on the market. Now, that can drive you crazy, but and I'm not recommending it, by the way. If you want to mess around with it, that's fine. If you have a problem with pressure, it might be worthwhile to practice that way. But just buzzing, holding it like this, helps. Now, the method that I like the best is what Jim Thompson recommends, which is 2 fingers on each side on the top and your thumbs on the bottom underneath. And that way, it's kind of like playing a tiny trumpet. Now, I'm going to get into this in more detail when we talk about kind of drill down on the physical aspects of playing the trumpet and how to manage those. And I know that that's what most trumpet players are interested in. I'm still working on that stuff, and I'm not sure how to present it quite yet, but I'm giving you little tastes in these Arban episodes. So here's an example of one. If I do that, I have the freedom to move in between the notes, and so I can concentrate on maintaining the same quality of the vibration in the buzz all the time. Now, when I do that, you can see I'm concentrating on maintaining the freedom of the vibration in the lip. When you hear the sound getting kind of crunchy, or you feel that you're squeezing or you're choking, you know you're way off base. So it's great to work these in a range that's comfortable for you at first. So this is the simplest exercise in the chromatic scales section of the book, and this is a great way to practice it. Now, I'm kind of a wild and crazy guy when it comes to creative practice techniques, so I'm thinking, what can I do to stimulate my body, to wake it up, to present challenges that are going to allow me to have fun with what I'm doing. So instead of just doing the chromatic scale over and over again, I'll do it in rhythms. I'll do it gradually building it up. Let's try gradually building it up. Now, of course, I don't know where my pitch is. I don't have perfect pitch. So I think I remember it. Oh, good. It's where I thought it was. Now, if I start on the C, and I'm just going to do it with holding it in the stamp method here. I'm feeling a little bit off because I can't keep the vibrational quality exactly the same as I'm trying to move up through the range. And that's my goal. So I'm going to make some adjustments. And what you may find is that you're concentrating on your lip. And my recommendation is don't concentrate so much on your lip. Concentrate on the airflow, the evenness, the stability, the consistency, the dependability of that airstream. So it stays the same. And that flow stays the same. When you're going up, you're going to encounter a little bit of resistance, but the airflow just stays very, very even throughout. When you do that, then your lip can find the air and kind of ride on the air. That's the main thing you're looking for. As you go up the scale, are you squeezing with your lip to go up? Am I squeezing with my lip to go up, or is my lip able to vibrate freely? That's the main issue that most trumpet players are working with. Trumpet players of every level are working with, is the reed vibrating freely, or am I biting the reed, as the saxophone player might say? Am I squeezing that reed so that it can't vibrate freely? So that's the main thing you want to work on. The feeling is, rather than squeezing as you go up, that you're riding on the airstream like a surfer riding on the wave. And if you feel your lip fighting, stop, relax. There are any number of things you can do, I'll get into that stuff later, to cultivate this ability to just produce that completely steady wave, that flow of air that you're riding on. Now let's say you go back to, I broke the stamp rule. I do it with my right hand instead of my left hand. And if you try that, you'll notice that it feels different however you do it. You also notice that it feels different when you do it with the brass buzzer or with the burp. Because you're holding the horn, it feels different. And so you need to address, well, again, these are the mechanics of buzzing, which is not what we're talking about today, but, well, maybe a little. Make sure that the pressure is even on your face, that you're not changing it, you're not doing something different. This is why I like Jim Thompson's method of holding the mouthpiece, because it's very easy to adapt to the right position, and for you to make adjustments with the jaw and with the angle of the mouthpiece and the distribution of pressure on your face. That's really great. And then it's easy, because it's easier for you to find the place where it vibrates the easiest. Now, obviously, I'm not going to play a lot of chromatic scales for you. You want to go faster, you want to go slower, you want to go louder, you want to go softer, you want to do articulation. Oh, now we're getting into some interesting things. And so I'll leave this for you to do, because if you just run this through the series, where you're playing slurred, legato, separated, staccato, and you do that with T articulation and K articulation, that's a great warm-up right there. So you might be doing something like, well, let me go to a different one. I'm getting bored now, so I'll move on to number 3, which is all triplets. Okay, now I'm going to tongue it. So that's a very light, easy articulation. Now I have a staccato articulation, and you're looking for quality, for refinement, for music in the sound. This is a great way to warm up. I almost started with these today. I decided to record some of the Bordogni instead. I probably should have started with these, because it's a great warm-up. Then I do it with K articulation. Same idea. And these are easy things to do. What's the main thing you're looking for? The quality of your voice. So if you're hearing that quality change as you change range, if you're hearing the quality change as you're changing dynamics, you know you've got a little bit of work to do. First, get control so you can keep your balance. And that's the main idea. Then you can start mixing things up. So number 7, which I haven't practiced, and I need to practice, but I'll give you an example of it, is one that I think can be very useful to most of us. So it has these patterns. That's not it. This is in 6/8. So it's 2 slurred, 4 tongue, 2 slurred, 4 tongue. Great. You can pick any patterns that you want. You can make up your own patterns. Have fun with it. The next pattern he has is every 2 slurred. And if you're listening for quality, that's different because you're articulating every group of 2. And as you move back and forth between sustaining and articulating, you'll hear things. You can play with it. You can do things like, you can swing it. You can mess around with the breath emphasis if you want to. Now, this is more advanced, but first get it to be as beautiful, as refined, as elegant, as simple as you can. Playing at the speed that's comfortable for you. Really work on the quality, especially the quality of your voice. The next passage just delays the 2 slurred by 1. So for you improvisatory people, I hope you're already doing this. It's a great way to practice. And then he switches between 2 slurred and 2 tongued. I messed that up a little bit, but you get the idea. It's da 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 da. Make up patterns. Use these as a starting point. It'll be great for your scale practice because it keeps your brain awake and it makes it into more of a game. So if you can get these things to be fun to practice and you feel like you're making progress, you're doing great. You don't need to, you don't need to spend too much time watching videos because you're making progress practicing your trumpet and getting better. All right. Well, I don't want to dissuade you from exploring my channel. Please feel free to go ahead and do that. But spend most of your time really practicing your own stuff and trying to improve your playing. So go and do that now, and I'll see you next time you have a few spare moments to spend with me. Have a great day. Bye-bye.